Hello Epic 7 newbies, this is Suspect Amy, and I'm here to do a quick video about young Senya's backstory. I know many players may have skipped through Senya's character story, or maybe you read it and just need a refresher. I'm going to summarize almost 2 hours of story dialogue in under 10 minutes, so please forgive me if I'm not covering every detail. Why is Alencia featured in Senya's S3? Why do her skill icons have loaves of bread on them? Why is Reddit upset that her kit pairs so well with Mort? I'm going to do a very quick summary of Spear of Vengeance, and close out Senya's story with the events of Episode 3, Chapter 8s. Act 1. Young Senya is a small child living in a village near Dragon Valley. As you can imagine, it's very dangerous living near Dragonlands. So every offering season, the villages nearby send a caravan full of gifts to the Dragon Lord in exchange for peace and protection. Unfortunately, something went wrong as a mad dragon filled with bloodlust attacked Senya's village and razed it to the ground. During the attack, she was saved by her best friend, Alencia, who just so happens to be a dragon. Alencia took young Senya to a nearby village and paid a family to take her in. After the dragon activity nearby, all of the neighboring villages are on edge and upset with the dragons. Because of this, Alencia decides to keep her distance as to not cause problems for Senya. Even though Senya's just a child, she is seething in anger. Not only was her family and village destroyed, but her best friend abandoned her. The Great Mortalix, a rogue ancient dragon, stumbles across a disheveled Senya in the woods. Mort is intrigued by the child's thirst for vengeance, and he smiles as a sinister plan unfolds before him. He promises the child her vengeance if she comes to train in Dragon Valley. Senya immediately accepts. Years later, Senya is deep in her spear training when Mort requests a meeting. This is unusual because she's been training for years in Dragon Valley, and Mort rarely checks in on her. Mort is diabolical inside, but on the outside he puts on a caring and gentlemanly facade, asking about her training injuries. Senya warms to Mort. She's been doing nothing but training for combat alone for years, so she isn't used to this kind of affection. Mort tells Senya it's time to take the next step in getting her vengeance. Act 2. Senya returns to her lodging and as usual finds packages of food, blankets, and medicine for her injuries. She doesn't really know who brings these to her, but the most obvious assumption is that these are gifts from Mort to help with her training. Senya is shocked when she bumps into Alencia just outside her door. What is she doing in the area? The last time she saw her old friend was when she was a child, traveling to Dragon Valley to be with Mort. At that time, Alencia tried to stop young Senya from seeking revenge with Mort, but she was immediately dismissed and told to never show her face again. Alencia sadly accepted this fate, but that doesn't stop her from secretly leaving gifts of food and necessities in Senya's home while she's out training. Senya mentions she's about to take the next big step in getting her revenge. Alencia, as usual, pleads with Senya to give up on vengeance and go back to living a normal human life. Again, Senya turns her old friend away. Act 3. Mort meets Senya and they set off to get her revenge. Senya thanks Mort for the food and medicine. He knows Alencia is the one bringing these items, but he decides to play along to continue to build Senya's trust. Mort brings her to a mad dragon writhing in anger on a frozen lake. Is this the mad dragon that attacked her village? Senya defeats the mad dragon, and Mort is surprised by her strength. He wasn't sure if she would survive. Even though the dragon was weakened by prolonged madness, he was still a dragon, and being defeated by a single human was entertaining nonetheless. Senya thinks her vengeance is complete, but Mort says this is just the next step. She needs to become more powerful if she truly wants to take down the one responsible for the deaths of her family. He reaches into the dragon core and pulls out a red stone. Act 4. Mort says his father, the Dragon Lord Uberius, is to blame for her family's death, and if she uses the red stone, she will gain the power that she needs to defeat the Dragon Lord. Senya reluctantly accepts and absorbs the red stone. The only problem is that it takes time to control power like this. Senya returns to even more intensive training. Some days she would collapse or pass out from trying to harness the energy within her. Through this, Senya can feel herself becoming stronger and stronger, and Mort remains nearby, watching, with a smile on his face. 5 years later. Senya is summoned to a meeting with Mort, and she thanks Mort for taking care of her with the food and necessities. Mort finds this very entertaining. He can see Senya slowly start to fall in love with him, and he laughs at how easy it is. He just asks her about an injury every once in a while, and takes credit for Alencia secretly bringing her friend gifts. There's something exhilarating about watching a sturdy tower come crumbling down. Hidden story. Irreversible steps. Mort tells Senya that in a few days the villages will be offering tribute to Uberius. This is her chance to kill his father, the Dragon Lord. Senya asks why he wants his own father killed. Mort cleverly spins a tale of his father killing his beloved teacher and leaving him alone, similar to how Senya was left alone after a dragon attacked her village. She now believes that vengeance against the Dragon Lord is not only for her sake, but for Mort as well. Even though Mort is manipulating her, Senya feels her bond with him grow stronger, and she'll do anything for him. Mort knows Senya can't fully control the Redstone's power, so to help her get the job done, he gives her a dragon poison. Senya heads to a nearby village to try and join the caravan with gifts for the Dragon Lord. While helping the tribute manager load offerings into the warehouse, she notices a little boy hiding. The tribute manager says it's common for the poorer families who cannot afford tribute to offer their children. Senya demands to take the boy's place. The tribute manager reluctantly agrees and sends the boy home to his family. Her plan is going perfectly. If she's part of the tribute, then this will guarantee she will be put in front of the Dragon Lord while he looks over his gifts. The caravan leaves for Dragon Valley and is attacked by the dragon Zoranox as soon as they get close. Senya puts up a good fight, but is ultimately overpowered by the Redstone and faints. Mort steps in and tells Zoranox to let them pass. The dragon asks why, and Mort simply tells him the truth. He's bored and wants more than anything to find someone worthy to fight him. Mort thinks if Senya kills Uberius and takes the full power of the Redstone, she can be an entertaining challenge to fight afterwards. Zoranox is warned to let this play out, and he backs off. While Senya is recovering from her battle with the dragon, Ran comes across the caravan and offers to train Senya on how to better control the Redstone's power. Her training is a success, and she can now go full out and not faint from exhaustion. Ran bids farewell, and the caravan arrives at Lord Uberius's palace. She brings the gifts to the Dragon Lord's altar and presents herself as tribute. Uberius and Senya talk. He seemed to be aware that the villages are struggling, but he sees the offerings are getting larger, which means the villagers are growing more fearful of him. Uberius expresses regret that the decisions he made so many years ago have come to this. He tells Senya she's free to go and to tell the villages they can lessen their offerings to ensure they can feed themselves. Senya remains determined. Even if he regrets his decisions now, he still made them, and he needs to pay for this. As a parting gift, Senya pours the Dragon Lord a cup of poison wine, and as soon as he drinks it, she strikes him down. As the surrounding dragons rise up to avenge their lord, Senya quickly flees to a hideout that Mort prepared for her. Soon, Senya realizes that she will be hunted endlessly by dragons, and Mort will be in trouble if they find out he's hiding her, so she makes a decision to leave. Before Senya leaves, she tells him how she feels about him, relieved to finally get this off her chest. Instead of returning her love, Mort tells her he was the one who created the mad dragon that attacked her village. Mort himself set the blaze that burned her village down. His true intention was to have Alencia's best friend, young Senya, be killed in the mad dragon attack. He wanted to guide Alencia's vengeance toward a red stone so she can defeat the Dragon Lord and finally become a worthy opponent. But Alencia saved her best friend from the blaze. This ruined his plans, until he came across a young Senya in the woods, seething with anger and revenge. So he simply adjusted his plans a little to make Senya his next opponent in place of Alencia. Senya rages from Mort's betrayal, and he loves every minute of it. They have a spirited battle, but in the end, she's no match for the great Mortalix. He's mildly impressed, so he decides to give her another chance. Mort tells Senya she needs to retrieve Uberius's body and craft weapons from its scales, bones, and teeth. Weapons made from the body of a dragon can penetrate dragon scales. Once she has these weapons and she becomes stronger, come find him for a final battle. The rest of Senya's story is a sad one. Senya indeed makes weapons from the Dragon Lord's remains, then leads the human villages in an uprising against the dragons. The war rages on for several years with heavy losses on both sides. Senya herself is wounded many times over, but the red stone keeps her hatred and anger alive. Senya knows she's losing a piece of herself to the red stone with every battle, so with her broken body and what's left of her sanity, she decides to travel alone into Dragon Valley. Senya wants to defeat Mort, not just as an attempt to end the war between dragons and humans, but to also stop him from trying to manipulate her old friend Alencia into becoming his rival. As she stumbles forward in the blistering cold, she thinks of warm childhood memories between her and Alencia, where they would enjoy her baking together and play in the woods. Alencia was always kind and protected her as they explored. She desperately wishes she can go back to those days and spend life as a normal human, alongside Alencia. While memories of her childhood fill her mind, the harsh cold finally takes Senya's life. I hope you enjoyed this quick recap of Senya's backstory. Best of luck in pulling for the new limited hero, Young Senya, on December 12th. That's all I have today. Thanks for watching my video. Bye, everyone.